Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Greetings, beautiful people. My name is Simon Javan Okello. I am excited to be here with you for another episode of the Daily African Proverbs. This is the African Father in America podcast, and the Daily African Proverbs is the early morning show that we've been doing here on Clubhouse and also live on YouTube every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday to Friday. Whenever we come here, we really share amazing African proverbs from across Africa. Today we have a proverb from Namibia, and this proverb is really great. It says that earth is the queen of beds. Earth is the queen of beds. And I would love to hear what you have to say about this proverb. I want you to share in the comments, if you're watching on YouTube, what this proverb means to you. And also, if you're listening on Clubhouse, let me know in the comments what this proverb means to you. I have three nuggets of wisdom that I'm going to share in regards to this proverb. Those are the three items that my team and I prepared when we looked at this proverb. But I also have other thoughts today, around this proverb, and I'm going to share those thoughts in a moment. For now, I just want to welcome Simply E, and I hope that Chioma is going to join us. I did not send her the proverb, as early as I was supposed to. So, I don't know if she'll be able to share the poem today, but I know we are still going to have a beautiful conversation. So join us. Remember to subscribe to the channel. The link is at the top of the Clubhouse room. And if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. The earth is the queen of beds. This is going to be our discussion today, but I want to take a second here to just make sure I bring Simply E on stage. Hey Simply E, how are you doing? Hey Richmo, how are you doing? And hey Noah, how are you doing? Feel free to join us on the stage. We would love to hear your voice and hear what you have to say about today's proverb. Simply E, share with us how you're doing this moment.
Grand Rising. I'm actually enjoying the shift in the weather. Yesterday was very, I guess, exciting. It was really different. There was a lot of high winds, but it was still maintained here. But it was very different here in Memphis, Tennessee, USA. I'm doing very well. I hope everybody's doing great this morning. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising to you. Lately I have been looking at, there's a game that you put on the floor, and you basically press it, and it asks you a question about a different part of the US. It gives you a hint. Then you have to figure out the city and the state and things like that. I never took learning the US seriously since I moved here in 2010. But now I have, my daughters are growing and they're learning. Even their toys are designed to teach them something about the US. So I'm now being forced to learn some time. And yesterday we were talking about, your city and your state. So, I just enjoyed knowing also where everyone is whenever we connect in the morning. I feel like that's one of the values I get from these conversations that we have. But I see Richmo, and I just want to welcome you. Today's proverb reminded me of two things. Earth is the queen of beds, from Namibia. It reminded me of currently, in Nigeria, there's a lot of flooding. And also it reminded me about the GMO conversation in Kenya. There's a conversation around, there used to be a ban on GMO, products or seeds. And recently it was lifted, So those are the two things that this proverb reminded me or about, and I'll go deeper into them. But I want to share these nuggets of wisdom that we prepared to just get the conversation started. The first one here says that appreciate the little things in life. And then the second one says that everything happens for a reason. And then the third one says that be grateful for what you have. So, this proverb in general, it's just reminding us to take care of the earth and to take care of the things that we have, and to value, nature. I think that's what it's trying to tell us in general. But really, if you look at the current flooding in Nigeria, which is not in Nigeria only, in Kenya, there are certain places that they're now used to the flooding, so it's not news anymore. But yesterday I was watching, I follow Larry Madowo, who is a Kenyan, but he's based here in the US. He works for CNN, and he covers a lot of the stories that happen in Africa. So yesterday he was in Nigeria, and he was literally inside water. They were filming the story of the current extreme flooding in Nigeria that has not been seen for years. So I wanted to bring that up as an example of maybe one of the things that is going on now that shows that we are not taking good care of the earth. The other thing that is going on in Kenya is that even though the GMO conversation is happening, where there is a debate, already the government has lifted the ban, and GMO products are now allowed into Kenya. But I was looking at the US history with GMOs, and I realized that there are 3 big government institutions here in the US that regulate GMOs. And in Kenya, the ban on GMOs has been lifted, but there's no single institution that regulates how they're being used. So I just found I just found those to be things that demonstrate how, even without sufficient research, we decide to do things that directly are harmful to the environment or to earth. And also here in Seattle recently, for over 2, maybe even 3 weeks, there was a lot of smoke everywhere because of bushfires, and just because of the rain. Now it's raining a lot. The weather, is a little better. But this is something that happens here in the Pacific Northwest every year. There's a lot of bushfires in Oregon, and also in other parts of Washington, like Eastern Washington, and that the wind brings it all the way to Seattle, where I live. And for weeks, soccer games are cancelled, outdoor activities are cancelled until the smoke subsides. So I just wanted to share those to get us started. I want to hear what, Simply He has to say, what Rich Mo has to say, and also what Steve has to say. But for now, Simply, I just want to pass you the mic so that you take a moment, reset the room, invite everyone to be engaged and to participate, and then share your own interpretation of today's proverb. Thank you so much.
Yes, Grand Rising, everybody, again. This is a great space, as you know. I'm looking at this proverb from 50 million different views now. If you want to be a part of the conversation, and you just want to raise your hand and come up on stage to give your interpretation, come into Clubhouse and invite a friend. If you're on IG right now and you see this, go ahead and put your input in if you have something to say. And if you're looking at the podcast, watching from YouTube, you want to go ahead and give a follow and join on YouTube to make sure that you're catching all the good nuggets. Um, I actually thought about the proverb today. Earth is the queen of beds. And I was thinking of this from a different point of view before Simon started speaking. But now um, I'm actually taking the viewpoint of sort of thinking about global warming and the impacts of decisions that we make. And so, you know how the saying goes, um, it's your bed, now you got to lie in it, you made your bed up. Um, Something like that. All right, I'm misquoting it to a certain degree. But you made your bed, now you have to lie in it, something like that. And so if Earth is the biggest, is the queen of beds, definitely what we're doing to the Earth, this is where we lay. We have no choice. And so everything that we're doing is going to impact where we are, no matter where we are on Earth. So I think it's just a good way of looking at things to say, let's take care of Mother Earth. We have to, this is our place where we are, and, we have to preserve where we lay. And so that's my interpretation. That's the one I'm going to choose for the moment, as the interpretation.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, even me, I looked at this proverb from different angles, but eventually I realized that for me, and really what it was speaking about is how we are taking care of the biggest bed that we have. Because if the earth is the queen of beds, then how are we going to protect it? How are we going to, all our bedrooms, even where the bed is, the way that it's protected, it's kept clean, quiet, are we doing that for the earth right now? That's the big question for me, at least. But I want to welcome everyone watching on YouTube and everyone listening in on Clubhouse. Take a moment, ping in, 3 to 5 people, share the link to the room, and also make sure that you're following me on Instagram, where I post this, proverbs prior to this session beginning. Richmo is a great brother who has been supporting this work for a while. How are you, Richmo? And where are you joining us from today? Share your perspectives, please.
Hey, Simon, Simply E, and fellow stage friends. This is always a great space, as Simply E mentioned earlier. A great space for us to share ideas and just learn from each other. Thanks, Simon, for being actually for the consistency. Today I was early, and I said I have to check in the room, and I got to the topic. Earth is the queen of beds, and just hearing the few viewpoints you've given as well, considering Kenya GMO introduction. I think one of the things that we cherish is having, as much as all things are permissible, not all things are acceptable. In light of GMO productions in the United States, and having bodies that govern how the process is handled. Those regulators, those trigger points, is what gives the safety of rolling out such programs. And I think for a long time in the continent, I'm actually, as I said, I'm in Maryland at the moment, in the DMV area. I didn't know the treasure of America until I got into the space of a mobile technology, because they instill a lot of regulation when it comes to telcos. Anything worked on that will be for the US market outside the US, let's say any company is working on US products and they are based outside the United States, those regulations have to be adhered. And you see the beauty of protecting the consumer market or the consumer in general. So when I see that spirit, that if anything is going to be worked on for the US market, there are regulations in place to protect the consumer market. Yes, there's bureaucracy, profits have to be made in a certain way, but ultimately, the consumer can easily put a lawsuit if things were not in place. They can put into accountability those that have been assigned in leadership. And I tend to think the earth is looking for such inspectors, such watchdogs, that the earth is vulnerable. You talk about the continent. For so long, it's been stripped of its raw materials. It's been stripped of resources. In fact, if you look closely, you'll see that as we are progressing in time, there is a shining light from the continent. The continent again is become the topic of events. People want to take their conventions in Africa. People want to see what's rolling out, the emerging markets in the continent. The earth is constantly producing. What greater privilege for it for us who are from the continent to see that we are from such a pristine and a priceless place. Are we going to be the ones to create these institutions like in America who watch over the GMO rollouts? I think there's an onus on us. I just recently so grateful to be in a panel of spearheading some events that are cutting edge in the continent. And you're like, first and foremost, I didn't know it took years to understand that I had to eliminate greed in any, because I started business thinking I'm gonna make profits, I'm gonna be this wealthy guy. And then I realized over time that really the end goal is solutions. And if these solutions are gonna be mandated well, if you're gonna have the right restrictions, the right regulations, money will come regardless. It's when now the earth is saying it's longing for people who can defend it. And earth rewards greatly. This earth, this bedrock from Mother Earth has its reward. But I believe it's when we look for the longer good, our posterity, our children's children, that will benefit from the regulations and stipulations that are put now. So uh, thank you, Simon, for having that discussion. And this topic is amazing because it lets each one of us know from the core how I live, where I live. Am I a responsible citizen? Am I global? Am I a responsible global citizen on how I run my waste at the house, how I recycle, how I contribute? Because when you put them all together, chances are you'll find yourself in a discussion center that's talking GMO, and you'll be able to say, hey, this can be observed, this can't be observed. I have a friend who's visiting in the US, and they were in a store and they were being given a plastic bag. And they were like, wait a minute, in Kenya, we are anti-plastic. And they convinced the seller that they'd rather get a different bag because it's now ingrained in their system. Like, nope, we've been constituted a certain way. I just don't want to feel relaxed or take it cavalierly that, you know what, I'm outside my zone. Like, you still become a police of that. And chances are, countries like America could also follow suit on that space. Richmo, and I land my plane.
I agree, Richmo. I agree. There's a lot that America can learn from Kenya and Africa, and it's true that the world is always watching the trends in Africa. For example, with mobile money, we would have not been where we are if it were not for M-Pesa, and I don't think there's enough credit that is given to the Kenyan innovation ecosystem, the innovate, and not only Kenya, but in Africa, and this is something that I think is on our leaders, the way that, there's so much innovation. If you look at the number of people in Africa who have tried to build their own helicopters, go to YouTube, you'll find so many people who have tried to build drones, helicopters, cars, great things, but their governments or even their media outlets don't do something about it, and those are the kind of privileges that Bill Gates had and Elon Musk. It was probably just a journalist that did a story about them, and an investor saw it, and that's how they evolved to who they are, and I feel that more work needs to be done there. And I want to bring the conversation here to Stephen and see what Stephen also has to say in regards to today's proverb from Namibia. If you're just joining us, we are having a wonderful conversation and really dissecting this Namibian proverb that says that earth is the queen of beds. Earth is the queen of beds. We want to hear what Steve has to say about it. Also, Steve, let us know where in the world you're joining us from today. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everyone. I'm Steven, joining from Kisumu, Kenya, and I'm happy to be part of this conversation today. Thank you for having me, Simon. And today's proverb have really got me thinking, and uh, a lot of thoughts have been flashing through my mind, more so with the current state of Kenya, with the prolonged drought in some sections of the country, the activism and global warming activities that are taking place across the globe. And seeing this proverb, what was coming to me first is a say that goes east or west, home is best. And what I was relating the saying to the proverb to is that Mother Earth is our home, and it has all the good and the treasures that we need. It is our due diligence to preserve and take care of the many beds that our Queen has in place for us. Unless we nurture and take good care of Mother Earth, then we'll have nothing to pass over to the generation to come. So this is a very, very broad proverb, and I think it needs for another session of discussion. Thank you for having me, Simon.
Wonderful. Thank you, Steve. Steve, also as you are speaking, I thought about the work that you do with Miti Nidawa, Trees Are Medicine. It's exactly connected to this. Do you just want to speak briefly about that and also speak about some of the stories of the farmers around Lake Victoria that you've been documenting?
Thank you again, Simon. Talking of Miti Nidawa is an initiative that we started in Kisumu, and it's a tree planting and vegetable farming initiative. We practice this with youths in Kisumu County and the neighboring counties. Uh, Besides establishing of tree nursery in our farm in Mamboleo, that is in Kisumu, with the trees, we advocate for tree planting in schools, in public spaces, hospitals, forests, basically doing afforestation. We bring on board also other CSOs who are of like mind to do this campaign with us and just ensure that we increase the number of tree cover in Kisumu and the western part of Kenya. The other things that we also do with Miti Nidawa is the only way we can appreciate the champions around our region is by echoing the good deeds that they are doing in relation to conserving our environment and the climate at large. So we do stories and documentaries of farmers, climate champions, activists that are also advocating for conservancy of our environment, conservancy of our water bodies, and just putting their stories out in the public domain so that it's known and the efforts that they're trying to put is also recognized and appreciated. So that is a bit of what we do with Miti Nidawa in a nutshell in Kisumu. Thank you again, Simon.
Thank you, Steve. So, if somebody here wanted to be helpful, wanted to be involved, how can they connect with you, and so that you can engage with them further?
Well, if you want to connect with us and also be support the activities that you are doing with Miti Nidawa, you can follow me in Clubhouse. You can follow One Vibe. One Vibe is a program that we are running with Simon, and you will be in a position to learn more about the activities that we are doing, we'll be in a position to also learn and follow through our calendars and know the events that we have that are coming up, that are ongoing. And you can also reach me directly through my number. I'm available round the clock. Thank you.
Okay, Steve, thank you so much for taking the time. I just love the sound of the chickens in the background there. I miss that, you know. In the area where we live in Seattle, this is also a part of the problem, and this is also a part of the topic we are talking about. They should not let people live without animals. Like, they only allow you to live with dogs inside, but no chickens making noise, no chicken creating manure. You have to buy you have to buy everything here. I think that's part of the problem that we have. That's why we are not taking enough care of the environment, anyway. I just don't want to go into ranting, but I feel like ranting sometime, because there should not be area policies, like neighborhood policies, that says, oh, you can't have chickens in your neighborhood, you can't have this, you can't have this. But it's the way I came here and found things, and I can't change that, but I have to say it because today's proverb allows me to complain a little bit. Let's hear from Brother Earth. How are you doing, and where are you joining us from, and what does today's proverb mean to you?
Peace and love, family. It's Brother Earth. I'm coming out of the North Carolina territory, and always gratitude to the family for all the wisdom they're sharing and coming forward with. And let me say this to you, Simon. I gotta, give you a special honor, because with all the Kanye West distractions and whatnot going on, you really have your focus and attention on something that really matters and that's affecting people in a very big way. Malcolm X said, as long as somebody feeds you and educates you, they own you. And speaking about how they pushing the GMO products or the seedless, they say a lot of that GMO is the seedless stuff, and as we eat it, it helps sterilize the people who eating the seedless fruit. So they say, but for you to, be focused on that, give kudos to you, brother, for that. That's good stuff. And Stephen said a lot of what I would say as far as the proverb is concerned. In our Moorish Holy Covenant, it says, "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck." And of course, the one father is the one Father, universal God that created us all. And I look at the breast of one mother is the queen or Mother Earth. You know what I mean? She nurtures us with everything we need as far as food, clothing, and shelter. And that's why it's so important that we, like the proverb we went over the other day about how if mama not happy or the home is not happy, well, if mama not happy, nobody in the house ain't happy, pretty much. So that's why it's so important that we, a lot of times the earth is exploited and used like it's a endless resource. Like they can just fish in it, take all the fish they want, cut all the trees, and it's not going to affect them. But that's not the case. And it's so important that understanding that all us, from the people to the plants to the animals to the insects to the fish in the sea, all us make this our bed or our home or our place of rest at some point or in some form of fashion. So that's why it's, like you said, so important that we preserve this. And I park my plane right there, family. Peace and love.
Peace and love to you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. I have a lot to say about this topic. I don't realize how passionate I am about, just protecting the environment and being good to Mother Earth. So I want Jay to speak because Jay is another, amazing contributor to this space. Someone that I have a lot of love and respect for. How are you, Jay? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts in regards to today's proverb from Namibia? The earth is the queen of beds.
Uh, Good morning. So the earth is the queen of beds. I struggled with that. I think brother said a lot of what I would have said. In terms, but the first thing that came to mind is the saying that you made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. And usually it's said that way in a negative, in terms of you made that decision or you married that person, and now you're just going to have to deal with the circumstances and situation and outcome of that decision. And I guess how I would apply that to this proverb is in using beds and the earth and the choices and the decisions, is that we have to make wise choices and wise decisions and thoughtful decisions before we choose to do something that can make a major difference in our lives and impact perhaps even the lives of others. So I think that's where I'll leave it, that you made your own bed and now you have to sleep in it. It's just to be very careful and cautious with the choices and the decisions that you make in this life. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate that. I appreciate your perspectives. I want to welcome Stella. Stella, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts in regards to today's proverb? Yeah, I know that Stella just came in, so I might have ambushed her with just giving her an opportunity to share her perspectives immediately. So Stella, whenever you're ready to speak, just double tap your mic and I'll give you space. I just want to thank you to all our listeners. I want to say thank you. A big thank you, really, and also all the people who are watching on YouTube and everyone who is going to be listening on Apple Podcast and Spotify. I have to say that I have formed an habit of listening to these episodes later on in the day on Apple Podcasts, especially because that's what I have on my phone, and I think it's a good habit. It's a good habit, especially because I listen to this show, all these episodes together with my daughters, and now we are having conversations about the proverbs, but they've also become fond of certain voices like Brother Earth's voice. Yesterday they were asking me more about Brother Earth, and it's just amazing, and they are now asking more of, can we start participating? Earlier on in the life of the African Father in America podcast, when we were beginning to build this community, especially on Clubhouse, on Saturdays we had children joining us for these conversations, and I was just smiling recently when I realized that my daughters have actually been paying attention, because sometimes I just turn on the podcast while driving and everybody's just quiet, so I wonder why nobody's even asking, can you change it to a song or something like that. So I feel that what we're doing here is valuable, and I'm really proud of it, and I just love how small but strong this community is. So I just wanted to say that before we get to the end of our time together today. Stella, do you think you're available now, or should I bring it to Simply E to just summarize and say a few words before we wrap up? Okay, Stella definitely is not available today, so we'll go to you, Simply E. Stella is a part of my team, by the way. She's Stella and Steve and Lavender are people I work closely with. And hey, Stella.
Hey, how are you?
You are very hard to find today.
No, I was talking to some big people and the conversation was so good. Then I heard you saying I'm away, so I moved away.
Oh, no problem. If you're not in a good place, it's okay. We can listen to you tomorrow. But if you're able to share,
Right,
we would
so
love to hear your voice.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well.
Yes, so I was saying that uh, this proverb, when I first saw it, it reminded me of two things. One, it's uh, when it's raining and you smell the soil, it usually smells so nice. And then the second one is when it's too hot and too sunny, it feels like the heat is rising from the sun, from the land. I mean, so when I read it, that the earth is the queen, the queen of beds. That's literally what came to my mind. And then when you look at how the heat rises from the ground, and then it goes up, and then it kind of builds the clouds form, and then it rains again. That cycle. So it's like the earth telling you that I'm here for you, humans. That's exactly how I felt when I read the proverb at first. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Otherwise, I'm grateful for this show today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella. Yeah, I love that. I love the simplicity of what came for you, what came up for you when you read this proverb, but also the depth of it. Because there's nothing as beautiful as how you've described it and how you've included the smell, the visuals, everything. You're a wonderful storyteller. Thank you. I just want to thank a few people here who have joined us today. Aphrodite, thank you for taking the time. I would definitely love to see you here more. So join us again tomorrow if you can. And also I see Hope Gardens, Opal Hope, thank you for being here. And I want to just thank Manon as well, and Kesiwa. Kesiwa, your love and support is really, really appreciated over the years and the months, and Ned and MK and Lavender, of course. And also all our contributors today. Thank you so much. Remember, we do this Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And one of the ways you can support us is to show up the way you did today, and also bring someone else tomorrow, and then the other way is you can be a guest on the show. We are always looking for guests. So if you want to be a guest on our show, let Stella or Lavender know. They are also in the Clubhouse space right now. I also want to thank everyone watching on YouTube. This is the end of our time together today. Oh, Simply E. Simply E, how did we do today?
We did great today. I just like the fact that there were, when folks have input from different perspectives and they can explain those things and give us a little bit of content and background as to why they feel that this proverb represents their point of view. I think it's beautiful. Not just saying it on the surface, but actually giving us an opportunity to see the proverb from their point, I think is great. I think we did a great job today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time and for being such an ardent, supporter of this work that we are doing. I deeply appreciate it. And, this is it. This is it, guys. I'm grateful, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, you can listen into this show also on Apple Podcasts. We are actually a 5-star rated podcast now on Apple with almost 150,000 downloads. So people are listening to this show, and it's really because of your presence and your continued support. So with that, we'll talk again tomorrow. Peace and
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.